Here's what's crazy about financial freedom. Everyone's out here searching for advanced secrets, insider tricks, complex investment strategies that only the rich know about. Meanwhile, the wealthiest people I know, they're doing the most boring basic stuff you learned in kindergarten. We're ignoring spend less than you earn to chase crypto day trading strategies. That's like skipping vegetables to take supplements made from vegetables. It makes no sense, but we do it anyway because simple doesn't feel powerful enough. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You already know how to be rich. You just don't want to do it because it's not exciting enough to post about. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 6 beginner principles that billionaires still use. Not because they're simple-minded, because these principles actually work. And the last one? It's the reason most people stay broke even when they know better. If you've ever bought a course promising advanced wealth secrets while your credit card was maxed out, hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, comment back to basics, and let's fix this together. Let's start with the most boring piece of wisdom that nobody actually follows. Number 1. Spend less than you earn. I'm about to say something so obvious you're gonna roll your eyes. But if it's so obvious, why isn't everyone doing it? Spend less than you earn. Groundbreaking, right? You're welcome. That'll be $997 for my masterclass. But here's what kills me. This is literally kindergarten math. If you have 5 cookies and you eat 7 cookies, you're in trouble. A 5-year-old gets this. Yet 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they don't earn enough, because they spend more than they make. And it doesn't matter how much you earn if your spending is always slightly higher. You could make $40,000 or $400,000. If your expenses are bigger than your income, you're broke. You're just broke with nicer stuff. There's this story in the Bible about a guy called the prodigal son. His father gives him his entire inheritance early. This kid's loaded, set for life. And what does he do? He goes out and blows every single penny on parties, fancy living, and impressing people he doesn't even like. Fast forward a few months, and he's so broke he's literally eating pig food and wishing he could have what his father's servants are eating. The story's usually taught as being about forgiveness and coming home. But here's what nobody talks about. This guy had a fortune and ended up with nothing because subtraction beats addition every single time. He kept subtracting and never once thought about what he was adding up to. Look, here's the math that determines your entire financial future. It's not how much you make, it's the gap between what you make and what you spend. That gap is everything. Someone making $40,000 a year and spending $35,000, they're building wealth. Someone making $100,000 and spending $105,000, they're going broke in a luxury car with a nice address. The first person will retire comfortably. The second person will work until they die and still owe money. But if you look at their Instagram, the second person looks like they're winning. That's the trap. Looking rich and being rich are completely opposite strategies. Here's what I want you to do, and I know it sounds tedious, but do it anyway. Track every single dollar you spend for 1 month. Every coffee, every app subscription, every impulse purchase at Target. Use an app like Mint or YNAB, or just write it in a notebook. I don't care how you do it, just do it, because you cannot fix what you cannot see. And I guarantee you'll find that 20% of your expenses are causing 80% of the financial bleeding. Find those expenses. Cut one thing this week that you honestly won't miss a month from now. There's this immigrant grandmother who worked at a laundromat her whole life. Minimum wage. Her grandson once asked why she wouldn't buy a new TV when her old one was barely working. She looked at him and said, "A TV doesn't earn money. Money in the bank does. Someday you'll understand." When she passed away, she left $180,000. The grandson finally understood. Wealth isn't what you spend. It's what you refuse to spend. Every no today is a yes to freedom tomorrow. Every dollar you don't spend on impressing strangers is a dollar working to buy your independence. But that's just the obvious part. What I'm about to say is what makes the difference. Because even if you're spending less than you earn, most people make one critical mistake with the money they have left over. Number 2. Pay yourself first. And here's that mistake. You pay everyone else first. Your landlord gets paid first. Your car payment gets paid. Your credit cards get paid. Those streaming services you forgot you're even subscribed to? They get paid. Then if there's anything left over, and spoiler alert, there never is, you pay yourself. You're the last person on your own payroll. Your landlord has better access to your money than your future self does. How does that make any sense? There's this ancient book called The Richest Man in Babylon about a guy named Arcad who becomes the wealthiest man in the city. And people keep asking him, "What's your secret? What's the trick?" And he tells them the first law of gold. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Not the leftover part. Not the maybe if there's extra part. The first part. In ancient Babylon, when you got paid, the king took his taxes. Your creditors took their cut. The merchants took theirs. Everyone automatically got their piece. And Arcad asked this simple question. If everyone else gets paid automatically before you even see the money, why aren't you first in line? Here's what happens to most people. They get paid. They look at their checking account and think, okay, I've got money. Then rent is due. Car payment, insurance, groceries, oh, the electric bill, that thing your kid needs for school, your friend's birthday dinner. By the time everything's paid, there's maybe $50 left, and you tell yourself, next month I'll save more. Next month comes, same story, different expenses, same result, zero saved. This is why pay yourself first isn't a suggestion. It's the only way saving actually happens. You automate it before you see the money. Paycheck hits your account, 10 to 20% immediately transfers to your investment account, and you live on what's left. You can't spend what you don't see. Out of sight, out of mind, into wealth. Most people do it backwards. They try to save what's left over, and there is never leftover money. There's always something that needs paying for, always something that comes up. If you wait until everything else is paid to save, you will never save. Here's your assignment, and I mean do this week. Set up an automatic transfer on payday, even if it's just $50, even if it's $25. Start somewhere. Treat it like a bill that you cannot skip. You wouldn't skip your rent payment and hope you can catch up later. Don't skip paying your future self. I know this young couple making $45,000 a year. Their friend found out they were investing $600 a month and freaked out. How? You don't make enough to invest that much. Their answer was simple. We paid ourselves first. That $600 left our account before we even saw the paycheck. We never had a chance to spend it. You're trying to save what's left after spending. We spend what's left after saving. Same income. Completely different results. Pay yourself like you're your most important creditor. Because you are. Your future depends on it. And here's what's wild. Once you start paying yourself first, you realize you didn't need that extra money for daily expenses anyway. You just spent it because it was there. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything you're managing to save. Because there's one more foundational piece that most people skip. And it costs them everything when life inevitably throws a curveball. Number 3, emergency fund before everything. And here's that foundational piece everyone skips. The emergency fund. I know, you want to invest in stocks, you want to buy crypto, you want to get into real estate. Emergency funds are boring. They just sit there doing nothing. They don't make you look smart at dinner parties. But here's what happens without one. Your car breaks down. Medical bill arrives out of nowhere. Your company does layoffs, and suddenly you're on the list. And guess what you do? You go right back to the credit cards. Right back to debt. Right back to zero. You're trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. And you're genuinely surprised when the first strong wind knocks the whole thing over. There's this old story from Jewish tradition about a guy named Joseph who ended up running Egypt. Long story. But the pharaoh has this dream about 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows, and nobody can figure out what it means. Joseph interprets it. 7 years of incredible harvests coming, then 7 years of famine. And here's the genius part. Joseph doesn't just predict the bad times. He prepares for them. During the 7 good years, Egypt saved like crazy, stores grain, builds reserves. When the famine hits, they're the only ones who survive. Everyone else is starving and coming to Egypt begging for food because they spent everything during the good years. That's what an emergency fund is. It's not pessimism. It's not expecting disaster. It's understanding that life has seasons. And the people who prepare during abundance survive the inevitable hardship. An emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a boring, accessible savings account. Not for vacations, not for investment opportunities someone pitches you at a barbecue. For emergencies, real emergencies. This is what keeps you from falling back into debt the second something goes wrong. And something always goes wrong. Cars break, bodies break, jobs disappear, appliances die at the worst possible time. That's not Murphy's Law. That's just life. Start with $1,000, then $2,500, then $5,000, then work your way up to 3 months of expenses. Stack it like a video game. Level up gradually. Don't try to do it all at once or you'll burn out and quit. Keep it in a separate account, different bank even. Make it slightly annoying to access so you don't dip into it for things that aren't actually emergencies. Spoiler alert, a sale at Target is not an emergency. And here's the real power of an emergency fund that nobody talks about. It's not just about the money, it's about options. 2 guys lose their jobs the same week. The first guy has a 6-month emergency fund. He takes his time, finds the right job, negotiates, doesn't settle out of desperation. The second guy has nothing saved. Takes the first job that'll have him because panic makes terrible decisions. 5 years later, the first guy is thriving in a career he actually likes. The second guy is still stuck in that panic decision he made. Too broke to leave, too tired to look for something better. An emergency fund isn't about the money. It's about buying yourself options when life tries to take them all away. It's about making decisions from a position of strength instead of desperation. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Because once you've got your foundation solid, most people make another massive mistake with their investments. They try to be clever when they should be simple. Number 4. Boring beats clever every time. Let me guess. You want to pick stocks. You want to find the next Amazon, the next Tesla. You want to be the genius who got in early and made a fortune. Here's the problem. You think you're Warren Buffett after watching 3 YouTube videos and reading 2 articles. You're not. And before you get mad at me, I'm not either. And that's completely okay. Listen to this stat that should humble everyone. 90% of professional fund managers, people who do this for a living, with teams of analysts and Bloomberg terminals and decades of experience, 90% of them cannot beat the market average over the long term. But somehow Dave, with his Robinhood app and a Reddit account, thinks he's going to outsmart the system? Come on. There's this ancient wisdom from the Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius. He talked about focusing on what you control and letting go of what you don't. And here's what you don't control. Which individual stocks are going to be winners? You don't know. Nobody knows. The people who get it right either got lucky or they're lying about the ones they got wrong. What do you control? Buying a piece of the entire market and letting time do its thing. Marcus also said, the obstacle is the way. Stop fighting against the reality that you can't pick winners. Work with the reality that you can own all of them. Back in Rome, the smart investors didn't bet everything on a single trade route. They diversified across regions, across industries, across everything. When one route got attacked by pirates, they didn't go broke. They had 15 other routes still making money. That's what index funds do. They're the most boring investment on the planet. An S&P 500 index fund owns pieces of the 500 biggest companies in America. A total market fund? Thousands of companies. You're not picking, you're owning everything. And here's what history shows. Over time, these boring index funds average about 10% annual returns. Some years more, some years less, but zoom out far enough and the trend is undeniable. You don't need to be smart, you don't need to time anything, you just need to be patient and not do anything stupid. Here's what I want you to do. Open an account at Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Buy VTI, that's the Total Market Fund, or VOO, which is the S&P 500. Set up automatic monthly investments. Then here's the hard part. Ignore it for 30 years. I'm serious. Stop checking it every day. Stop panicking when it drops. Stop celebrating when it rises. Just let it sit there compounding while you go live your life, because constantly checking makes you emotional. And emotional investors panic sell at the worst possible times and destroy their own returns. There are these two brothers I know. One of them day trades stocks. He's constantly researching, reading the news, stressed out, checking his phone every hour. The other brother buys an index fund every month and literally never looks at it. Just set it and forget it. 20 years later, the day trader is exhausted. He's got some gains, but nothing spectacular. Mostly he's got anxiety and regrets. The index brother, quietly wealthy, peaceful, lives his life without constantly monitoring the market. Someone asked him how he did it. He said, "I was bored for 20 years. Turns out boring was the strategy." Investing isn't about excitement, it's about results. Boring compounds, exciting distracts. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next, because even when you pick the right investments, most people sabotage themselves with one fatal mistake. Number 5. Patience is the ultimate strategy. And here's that fatal mistake. People wait for the right time to invest. The market's too high right now. A recession's coming. There's election uncertainty. Interest rates are doing something. The news says something scary. So they wait and wait and wait some more. Meanwhile, they've been waiting for 5 years and the market's up 60%. Congratulations, you successfully avoided risk by guaranteeing you'd miss all the gains. Waiting for the perfect moment to invest is like waiting for all the traffic lights to turn green before you start your drive. You're never leaving the driveway, my friend. Here's what kills me. People obsess over getting the timing perfect. They want to buy at the absolute bottom and sell at the absolute top. And they spend so much energy trying to time it that they end up doing nothing at all. There's this parable about a farmer who goes out to plant seeds. He's just throwing them everywhere. Some seeds fall on the path and birds eat them immediately. Some fall on rocky ground and die quickly. Some land among thorns and get choked out before they can grow. But some seeds, some of them fall on good soil. And those seeds multiply 30 times, 60 times, 100 times over. Now here's the lesson everyone misses. The farmer couldn't control where each individual seed landed. He couldn't time it perfectly. But you know what he did? He kept planting, consistently, day after day. Because he understood that if you throw enough seeds, eventually you're going to hit good soil. That's the stock market. You cannot predict which days will be the best days. Nobody can. But here's a stat that should terrify you into staying invested. If you missed just the 10 best days in the market over the last 30 years, your returns drop by 50%. Half. Gone. And nobody, not the experts, not the algorithms, not your brother-in-law who called the crash, nobody knows when those days will be. They're random. They often happen during crashes when everyone's panicking. The solution? Stay invested through the ups and the downs. Don't try to be clever. Just be present. This is where dollar cost averaging becomes your best friend. You invest the same amount every single month, regardless of what the market's doing. Market's up, you buy fewer shares. Market's down, you buy more shares. You remove all emotion from the equation. Set it, forget it. Let decades do the heavy lifting. I know this woman who invested $500 a month for 30 years. Through 3 recessions, 2 market crashes, countless end-of-the-world headlines, financial crisis, dot-com bubble, COVID, everything. She never stopped, never sold, just kept buying every single month like a robot. She retired with $1.2 million. Her neighbor tried timing the market. He'd jump in when things looked good, panic and sell when things looked bad, sit in cash waiting for the right moment. After 30 years of trying to be clever, he had $180,000. When they compared notes, the neighbor said, "I was terrified the whole time, stressed constantly trying to make the right moves." The woman smiled and said, "I was bored the whole time." Turns out bored was the winning strategy. The market climbs a wall of worry. Your job isn't to avoid the worry. Your job is to keep climbing anyway. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Wait, the most important part is in the following story, because even if you do everything right, save, invest, stay invested, there's still one thing that can sabotage everything, and it's the hardest principle to actually live by. Number 6. Live below your means. This is the one nobody wants to hear. This is where I lose half the audience because the truth hurts. You want wealth? Live like you're not wealthy. People making $200,000 a year trying to live like they make $250,000. People making $50,000 are trying to live like they make $80,000. Everyone's reaching one lifestyle level above what they can actually afford. And look, I get it. You work hard, you deserve nice things. You want to enjoy life. I'm not saying live like a monk and never have fun. But I am saying this. If you're wearing designer clothes while eating ramen because you can't afford groceries, that's not a strategy. That's a cry for help. Benjamin Franklin figured this out 300 years ago. "A penny saved is a penny earned," he said. But he also warned, beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. Franklin was wealthy, not just because he earned a lot, though he did, but because he never needed to prove it. He lived modestly, invested aggressively, never felt the need to show everyone how successful he was. He could afford everything but chose to need nothing. And when he died, he was one of the richest men in America. Here's the math that determines everything. Your wealth gap equals the gap between what you earn and what you spend. The bigger the gap, the faster you build wealth. And this has nothing to do with your income level. Someone making $50,000 and spending $35,000 is building wealth faster than someone making $150,000 but spending $160,000. The first person is living below their means. The second person is slowly going bankrupt in a nice neighborhood. Calculate your freedom number. How much do you actually need to live comfortably? Now live 20% below that and invest the difference. Every dollar you spend below your means is a dollar working for your freedom instead of someone else's profit margins. The less you need, the more you have. It's backwards from what society teaches you, but it's the only math that works. Here's what I want you to understand. Living below your means isn't about deprivation. It's about priorities. It's choosing freedom over appearance, independence over approval, peace over performance. You can have the BMW or you can have the investment portfolio that eventually buys you decades of not having to work. You cannot have both. Not at the beginning. Maybe later, but not now. There's this janitor who worked at a library for 40 years, drove a 1995 Toyota Corolla that looked like it was held together with duct tape and prayer, lived in a small apartment, never took vacations. Everyone felt sorry for him. He died at 87, and when they read his will, the whole town went into shock. He left $3.5 million to the local schools. $3.5 million from a janitor's salary. Everyone asked the same question, how? They found his journal. One entry explained everything. I earned little. I needed less. I invested the difference. 50 years of nobody noticing made me rich. Freedom isn't earning more. It needs less. The less your lifestyle demands, the more your life delivers. Wealth whispers while broke screams. If your lifestyle is designed to impress people at stoplights, you're playing the wrong game entirely. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here. Everything I just told you, all 6 principles, you already knew. Deep down, you knew all of it. The question was never what to do. The question is whether you'll actually do it. So here's the truth nobody wants to accept. You already know how to build wealth. Spend less than you earn. Pay yourself first. Save for emergencies. Invest in index funds. Stay invested. Live below your means. None of this is advanced. None of this is secret. It's all beginner-level wisdom that billionaires still use because it works. The difference between broke and wealthy isn't knowledge, it's execution. Millionaires aren't doing complicated things. They're doing simple things consistently while everyone else is searching for shortcuts that don't exist. You want it to be complex because simple feels like it shouldn't work. You want a hack because habits are boring. But wealth is built slowly, quietly, boringly. One beginner principle at a time. Pick the one principle you're weakest at. Just one. Master it this month. If you're ready to stop searching for advanced secrets and start executing beginner wisdom, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Comment back to basics below and tell me which principle hits hardest for you. Advanced financial freedom is just beginner wisdom compounded over time. Stop looking for the secret. You're holding it. The question isn't what to do. You know what to do. The question is, will you actually do it?